Governor Abbott activated the state's Emergency Operations Center Friday to prepare for the winter storm that's now hitting Texas. He urged people across the state to prepare for weather that will bring some of the coldest temperatures we've seen in recent history. The governor's briefing covered things like making sure roads are prepped for the potential of ice and people have places to take shelter from the cold. But the concern many Texans have is, will the power stay on? The state is expected to face record demand for electricity. Officials say the chance for rolling blackouts is low, but they're still preparing for the worst case scenarios. Our Ryan Chandler explains what you need to know.
It's become an annual concern for Texans. Are they going to stay warm and are their lights going to stay on? What do they need to know this time around?
Well, they need to know that this cold front is not expected to be as difficult or as bad as the one in February of 2021. I think the weatherization requirements for the electric power plants have certainly helped.
Since this freeze nearly 3 years ago, Texas has performed more than 1,500 inspections of power plants. State leaders are more confident than ever.
Texas and the grid are better prepared than we've ever been.
I think it's just a bit of a different storm, but that doesn't mean we might not have issues.
We're not out of the cold quite yet. ERCOT predicts a nearly 1 in 6 chance of rolling blackouts if conditions are as severe as the December 2022 storm.
That one was not nearly as bad as February of 21, when ERCOT's own math said it was only a 1 in 20 chance of rolling blackouts. You know, once again, as we play ERCOT weather roulette, if we come up a loser, we come up a loser no matter what the governor says.
The good news is it shouldn't be as bad this time.
It'll be a drier event. We're not expecting that much precipitation. We should be able to more easily get around to fix things should they break.
Experts stress we all carry the weight of the grid. They say don't ignore the calls to conserve if times get tight.
If 10% of the state were to do that, that might provide enough leeway for the entirety of the grid to operate without rolling blackouts.
Ryan joins us now. Ryan, you were at the emergency weather briefing on Friday. What are state leaders saying about the electric supply?
They're confident. They're as confident as ever, Josh. I know Texans have grown conditioned to be a little anxious every time the temperature drops, and understandably so after that deadly blackout of February 2021. But state leaders, including the governor and the CEO of ERCOT, say that this is a different storm and a different power grid. They say they've made changes that we've learned from since 2021 that will make us more resilient than ever. And they're not even calling for a conservation notice. They're that confident that we'll have enough energy to weather this storm.
Well, you know, the governor signed new laws to help pay for building new gas-fired power plants in Texas. It's supposed to help make sure Texas has enough power to meet growing demand, but the energy experts you talked to are skeptical. Why?
Right, so the governor signed a series of bills meant to increase the energy supply in Texas by incentivizing power companies to build more power plants. These plans could cost as much as $18 billion by giving out loans to energy companies to tell them, hey, come to Texas and build your power plants here. The governor said that they already have dozens of projects in the pipeline meant to put more energy online in the coming years and decades. But you're right, some of the energy experts I talked to are skeptical that this is actually going to increase the supply of power, because keep in mind, these companies are still operating under the laws of the free market and of supply and demand. You'll remember in February 21, the prices shot through the roof because there wasn't enough energy and the demand was at an all-time high. So we saw a lot of price gouging, thousands and thousands of dollars for energy. And some people argue that that is going to stick around because let's say you're a power company with, say, 20 power plants and you only keep 12 online. Well, that allows you to control the supply and charge more. Whereas if you put the extra 8 on, then supply and demand would even out and you'd have to charge less for power. So while it might control the prices for consumers, some are skeptical that this is actually going to make our supply more stable in the long term.
All right, well, I'm sure you'll be out reporting in this cold this week, so
I hope not.
Don't forget your gloves.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Ryan. Saying goodbye to a Texas trailblazer, we look at the high-profile tributes to the life of Eddie Bernice Johnson and her lasting legacy.